Here we go. India successfully launches its first mission to the sun. That is a bunch of nonsense. The sun is not a big ball of gas and fire. It's not 96 million miles away. All these pictures you've seen are CGI. The sun is actually just a perfect light that God has created. This is what the sun actually looks like through a solar lens. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, that's the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. The firmament is the molten glass dome that God placed over the earth. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and has a molten looking glass. And its resemblance is something like this, with the sun, moon, and stars in our atmosphere. And you're probably wondering, how does the sun rise and set? The sun and the moon sit above the earth and they move in a circular motion around like this, 24 hours a day. Look what it says here. Hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. And then look, this is talking about the sun. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. His circuit unto the ends of it. Look, his circuit, his circle is unto the ends of it, and nothing in the earth is hid from the heat thereof, just like it says in the word. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. So the sun goes back to the same place that it arose in, because it's moving in a circuit. It's going to end back up in the same exact place. You're asking, why does it look like it goes up and down? This is due to the law of perspective. Notice how the windmill that's the closest to the photographer is the highest and tallest. The further they get away, the smaller and shorter they appear in the sky. And then they finally disappear. It's the same thing that's going to happen when you see a plane very far away. It's first going to look really low to the ground, and then the closer it gets over you, it's going to look really high up and far over your head.
Is this real? Can somebody tell me if this is real? Because I'm not an astronaut and I'm not a science man. But can somebody tell me what in the monkey dust is going on? So ever since they went to the moon, these men are taking it to the next dimension. They flew past the firmament. They didn't go to the moon. These men are flying to the sun. So please, somebody answer me this. In school, they said if the earth was 2 centimeters closer to the sun, we would all burn up. Who remembers when they said that? Do you remember? Somebody, you remember? These men are now saying they are able to fly straight into the sun. And to add insult to injury, when you go into space, it's cold and it's dark. Where is this heat coming from? Why is it heating up on Earth, but in space it's cold and dark? But these men know the shortcut to the sun, 500 million miles away.
This is how uneducated and indoctrinated globetrotters can be, people. He's commenting on why you can see the Chicago buildings from Michigan. At one point, it's 59 miles across. That means it's missing 2,320 feet of curve. Did you know the tallest building in Chicago is only 1,400 feet, right? So from the horizon level, 1,400 foot. That 1,400 foot top of that building should be 900. Let me say that again. 900 feet below, much less to talk about the rest of the building. That's just the very tip top of it. Should not even be able to be seen. It should be 900 foot below, okay? So I'm having to explain it like this, people, because globetrotters have a hard time understanding and comprehending their own math of what they say curve is. Google's free, guy. You can look up pictures all day long, Michigan to Chicago, and you can see the entire building except for maybe the bottom 15 foot. Do better. Another uneducated, indoctrinated globetrotter, Globey McGlobeface, who wants me to visually show him and bring the classroom to him because he can't do his own math, I guess, to figure out what a curve calculator is. Go to curve calculator. It'll do the math for you. But here's a picture that I'm going to stitch at 40 miles, and the height observer is right on the edge of the water there, my guy. So let's say he's 6 foot tall. You take 6 foot out of that, let's say 900 foot. It's supposed to be below, so it's supposed to be 894 feet.
Rockets are just an elaborate balloon, or a balloon wrapped with some kind of a metallic structure like aluminum or tin. It's like a giant tinkin filled with pressurized air. This space shuttle external tank gross mass is about 760 tons, and instead of free falling with its massive weight, it's just floating around like a balloon. Just imagine if an airplane falls. It will fall straight towards the Earth and not floating, like this so-called external tank.
This instrument is actually a mechanical computer. What you see here is the projection of the sky for a specific latitude. This is for Istanbul. It starts with one single observation, and we will actually try to maintain the position of this piece exactly aligning with the sun. This is a perfect alignment, and we just read the altitude from here to here. Is 54 degrees.
That means the sun is 54 degrees above the horizon. The user now turns the astrolabe over to find the 54-degree circle on the bottom plate. Next step, find and mark the date. It's etched on the ring that represents the sun's path. Then rotate the plate until the date aligns with the altitude mark. If you take a piece of string from the center of the astrolabe through the aligned points, you can read the time from the rim. The line is like the hand of a clock. It's 4 minutes past 2 in the afternoon.
That is not a simple to use instrument, but accurate enough for all timekeeping applications.
When the government questions its citizens for suspicions of a crime, it's called an investigation. When the citizens question their government, it's called a conspiracy theory. We've been conditioned not to question the government's story.
Happy thinking!
Hi there, I'm here in my son's bedroom today to explain to all the globetards how a globe Earth doesn't make sense. Let's say you're here in North America, right? And you're in a helicopter. Why wouldn't the helicopter be able to just take off and let the world spin around it and then say land in Japan? Why wouldn't it be able to do that? Well, the reason it wouldn't be able to do that is because the Earth isn't round. Otherwise that would work. The Earth is actually flat, so the helicopter will have to take off and tilt and move to land, because that makes sense on a flat Earth. So, to all you globetards out there, wake up.
They got us believing that these rockets are leaving Earth. In reality, they can't, because of the firmament.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
What he is referring to is God's firmament, which is a closed system. Let's take a look at the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 6, which says, "It is he who builds his upper chambers in the heavens, and has established his vaulted dome over the earth, he who calls to the waters of the sea, and pours them out on the face of the earth." And has established his vaulted dome over the earth. So God has founded a vaulted dome over the earth, which is referring to God's firmament. Genesis chapter 1, verse 7. "And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." The book of Job even tells us what the firmament's like. Verse 18, "Hast thou with them spread out the sky which is strong, and as molten looking glass?" Which is why they try to crack the firmament. Research Operation Fishbowl. Operation Fishbowl was a series of high-altitude nuclear tests in 1962 that were carried out by the United States, and also known as Operation Dominic. Dominic meaning belonging to the Lord. So they were talking about God's fishbowl.
Although we weren't able to shatter that hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, It's got about 18 million cracks in it. We just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet. Thanks to you and to everyone who's fought so hard to make this possible. I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
I'm here to tell you God's word is true, and He wants a relationship with you, not a religion.
This company grows food inside domes underwater, and it works better than greenhouses on land. This project is called Nemo's Garden in Italy, and the food grows faster without the worry of temperatures or need of pesticides and insecticides. This really is a revolutionary idea, and if it's embraced, it will change the agricultural world forever. So far, they're only growing small plants like basil, strawberries, and lettuce, but if bigger domes were built, you could easily grow trees down there. It's also a working model of a flat earth with the waters above and the waters below, but most of you are not ready for that conversation yet. This system will not embrace this innovative design capable of eradicating the so-called need for GMOs because this system makes the GMOs. Therefore, it's up to the people to bring this method of farming into fruition. Otherwise, it will just be another project that gets ignored by the powers that be. Now show me food growing on a spinning ball inside a vacuum, and subscribe to Unbind Your Mind on YouTube for more like this.
Let's talk about this. One of the biggest arguments for Globers is the imagery that we get from outer space. Outer space. Because, to be perfectly honest, in all the outer space imagery, we never actually see satellites. But we have satellite imagery. So what's going on here? Balloon technology is probably the safest way to gather information from up in the sky. We already know you could regulate the height of the balloon using heat. Just add a parachute to protect your equipment and you're good. I think that the advancement of technology sometimes makes us believe that previous technology is obsolete. I think that's part of the reason why the space program is so significant. It makes us feel like balloons are really outdated technology. But have you ever considered what these large reflective balloons would look like from down below? A shiny silver dollar. Did we just identify thousands of UFOs?
Yo, bro, got a minute? Yeah, what's up? Have you ever thought about the Earth? What about it? Well, you know, its shape. You mean how it's round? Well, yeah, but I think it might be flat. All right, seriously, quit wasting my time. No, I'm serious. Come on, what are you talking about? Well, think about it. Remember the summer when we were in Michigan and we could see the Chicago skyline all the way across the lake? Yeah, so? Well, I did the calculations of the curvature of Earth, and we shouldn't have been able to see the city. Oh, it must have been an illusion, or a mirage. Okay, but what about that other time this summer we were in a boat and we thought we saw a boat go over the curve of the lake? And then we pulled out our Nikon P1000s and we were able to zoom right back into it. You shouldn't be able to do that over a curve. Well, yeah, but that was just refraction. Duh. Okay, what about when we saw the North Star Polaris night after night always stay in the same spot this summer? Do you remember that? That's because it's perfectly lined up with the Earth's axis and its rotation point. But we don't live at that exact axis point of the Earth's rotation. We're off to the side. And that doesn't even take into account the fact that the Earth is supposedly spinning 66,600 miles per hour around the sun, too. That's interesting. Speaking of 66,600, did you ever notice how NASA uses 666 in a lot of their numbers? No, what do you mean? Well, its tilt is supposedly at 66.6 degrees. It curves at a rate of 0.666 feet per mile squared. And did you ever notice that that serpent-looking tongue going right through their logo? Yeah, this one. Well, yeah, but that's all coincidence. Seriously, dude? Well, what about the fact that never in your life have you ever seen water curve?
Again, what do you mean? Well, think about it. When you're in a bathtub, in a pool, you're in a lake, you're in the ocean. When have you ever been in that body of water and it does nothing but lay flat? Well, yeah, but gravity, silly. You know, gravity, that theory. Dude. But gravity. Oh my God. The earth is flat?
When people ask me, John, do you really believe the world is flat? I need to start posting some videos, because I post stuff on my story all the time. But hey, I'm not saying the world is flat. I'm just going to start presenting you guys with things that started to make me think. And hopefully you could start doing your own critical thinking and start to use that brain of yours instead of just believing every stupid thing, every lie that you've been told since you've been born. Okay? So let me hit you with some stuff. Sir Isaac Newton, the guy who invented the theory of gravity. Guess when he did that? 1666. And he was 23. If you know anything about numbers, numerology, anything like that, you'll be able to put those together, right? Now, let's go to NASA. NASA. Earth's orbital speed around the sun is 66,600 miles per hour. 666. The curvature of the Earth, right, in 1 mile squared is 0.666 feet. The Earth's axis tilt, 66.6 degrees.